Betrayal and disappointment. I married the first person I met, but this unexpected surprise changed everything. Claire was a determined young woman who lived in an environment full of expectations and obligations. She was preparing for a wedding that symbolized her family's dream, but destiny had surprising plans in store. A few days before the ceremony, a devastating revelation shook her confidence. As the man with whom she had decided to unite her life betrayed her with someone very close to her. This fact threw Claire into a whirlwind of feelings and forced her to rethink her entire existence, bringing out the pain of betrayal and awakening in her the impulse to seek a deep and immediate transformation. This narrative addresses themes such as betrayal, impulsive marriage, unexpected surprises, and upheaval, leading Claire through a journey of self-knowledge and personal renewal. The conflict awakened a strength in her that made her face challenges and transform her reality. Keep watching and stay until the end to discover how adversity became the key to an emotional change that redefined his destiny. The constant pressure of family expectations and rigorous commitments created an environment where small signs of mismatch began to be noticed. Amidst the meticulous routine of preparations, Claire noticed subtle details: the groom's hesitant gestures, looks that seemed to escape honesty, and murmurs that were hidden beneath the hustle and bustle of preparations. These signs, although discreet, planted a silent doubt in his heart, as if something was out of place in what had always been considered perfect. As the days progressed, the oppressive weather and constant pressure to keep up appearances made the atmosphere increasingly tense. Claire, torn between the desire to meet other people's expectations and the need to listen to her own intuition, began to pay more attention to behaviors that deviated from her planned routine. Small slips and incongruous attitudes began to stand out. Forced smiles, evasive gestures, and unusual comments that gradually built up a disturbing picture. This accumulation of signals transformed anxiety into a sense of alertness, setting the stage for the imminent revelation. In the midst of this whirlwind of feelings, the silent clues culminated in an unexpected discovery. During the final moments of preparations for the big day, a casual comment from an attentive relative exposed the truth that Claire feared. The man with whom she had decided to unite her life had become involved with a close friend. This revelation not only broke the trust she had placed in the relationship, but also intensified her internal conflict, forcing her to face the reality that the dream built on so many expectations was crumbling. After hearing the comment that confirmed her fears, Claire felt uneasiness grow inside her. The silent doubt, which turned into palpable anguish, drove her to seek evidence that would validate the suspicion that was eroding her confidence. Determined to face the truth, she began to carefully observe her fiancé's every move, looking for any sign that confirmed the betrayal. This tension-filled vigilance led her to adopt a firm stance, determined not to allow disloyalty to remain unconfronted. Moved by a mixture of pain and courage, Claire began to discreetly follow her fiancé, observing his behavior and paths with an attentive and suspicious eye. On what seemed like an ordinary afternoon, she noticed a change in her habits. The man who had previously been evasive went to a room in the house where her niece, always present, used to stay. With her heart racing and her senses heightened, Claire positioned herself strategically, determined to unravel the mystery that had been troubling her for a long time. Every detail, every suspicious gesture, made the conviction of his betrayal grow stronger, fueling the need to confirm the unacceptable. At the exact moment fate favored her, Claire was faced with the scene she feared. In a private area of the residence, her husband was with his niece, a girl who lived in his house and whose upbringing he had watched since childhood. The vision, which mixed indignation and deep sadness, made reality impose itself irrefutably. Claire, overcome by shock and unbearable pain, plunged into a state of deep despair. The silence of the house, previously filled with laughter and warmth, now seemed to echo the accelerated beats of her heart. As she tried to understand the absurdity of the betrayal, every memory of past happy moments became a crushing weight, and the certainty of having been betrayed by the one who had always accompanied the growth of her niece, who lived under her roof, made her soul cry in silence. Amid this whirlwind of anguish, strange events began to manifest themselves, intensifying the climate of internal disorder. Firstly, Claire began to see shadows moving around the corners of the room, as if the house itself held nameless secrets. Then he heard low, unintelligible whispers during the early hours of the morning, sounds that seemed to carry the lament of lost souls, reflecting the turmoil that now dominated his spirit. Soon, reality became confused with feverish dreams. Objects moved slightly, as if the house was trying to tell a story of guilt and regret. In one of these moments, when looking out the window, Claire saw the silhouette of a figure that was slowly approaching through the garden, as if wanting to communicate. These supernatural and disconcerting events further deepened her state of despair, making it clear that the betrayal had triggered a chain of disturbances that defied reason and made the young woman question her own sanity. Claire, consumed by despair and a feeling of abandonment, reached a critical point in her life. The pain of betrayal, intensified by the supernatural events that seemed to haunt her home or her head, made it unbearable to maintain the bond with the man who had destroyed her trust. Amidst the tears and the piercing silence of the corridors, she decided that she could no longer live in the shadow of that disloyalty. The certainty that the past would never be the same again drove her to definitively break the bond that had united them, sealing the end of a relationship that was now just a bitter echo of broken promises. In this whirlwind of emotions, Claire started looking for a way out to escape the crushing weight of betrayal. The idea of starting over gained strength, driven by the feeling that a new direction could be followed immediately. In a desperate and urgent impulse, during a conversation with a close friend, she reveals that she decided to urgently marry someone who could offer the renewal of a life without the constraints of pain. The decision, made almost in a rush, was motivated by the need to rebuild her identity and rescue the dignity that had been stolen from her, even if this meant acting abruptly and outside the standards expected by her family and everyone she knew. Determined to regain control over her destiny, Claire immersed herself in an intense search for an alternative that represented the freedom she so desired. She tried to find someone who, with an audacious proposal and without delay, would offer the chance to seal a new beginning. This urgency to find a partner who symbolized the renewal of his life reflected the desire to leave behind the scars of the past and to begin a path based on strength and overcoming. Each step in this direction was marked by a brief feeling of liberation and great anxiety, even if the decision was made in the midst of a scenario of chaos and uncertainty, since for Claire, the new marriage represented the key to rebuilding her self-esteem and opening the doors to a truly authentic future. Despite the dark scenery, a faint light appeared, represented by an unknown man, the first she had the opportunity to meet, whose presence conveyed an unexpected security. His firm posture and determined look caught Claire's attention, awakening her cautious curiosity. He didn't have a familiar face, but his attitude denoted experience and confidence. As she approached, the serenity of her gestures contrasted with the chaos that surrounded her. The man's enigmatic aura awakened the feeling that he carried answers to deep pain. His arrival seemed to mark the beginning of an unexpected turning point in Claire's life. The stranger presented himself bluntly, revealing a bold and unprecedented proposal. He suggested that the path to freedom lay not only in breaking ties, but in sealing a new destiny with an immediate decision. His words, spoken with clarity and conviction, insinuated that the chance for a fresh start was just a step away. Each sentence carried the promise of a renewed life, free from the shackles of the past. He emphasized that the change was not just about financial issues, but above all, about rebuilding the emotional essence. The tone of his voice mixed empathy with firmness, as if he understood the pain Claire was carrying. The detailed proposal that the unknown man offered went beyond a simple marriage contract. He explained that by joining together impulsively and without the shackles of other people's expectations, Claire would have the opportunity to rewrite her story freely. The agreement implied a quick wedding, marked by simplicity and authenticity, without the excesses that previously dominated the planned life. This symbolic union represented the definitive break with the impositions that had suffocated their dreams for so long. He guaranteed that the new bond would be the foundation for a new beginning, not only material but mainly emotional. The proposal was surrounded by conditions that seemed liberating, inviting Claire to take a leap towards renewal. The unknown man outlined every aspect of the agreement with precision and sensitivity. He assured that the new marriage, carried out quickly and without grand ceremonies, would be a tool to break with the past and rebuild identity. Her explanations included practical details such as organizing a discreet ceremony that would symbolize her release from the ties that tied her to her old life. He also mentioned that mutual support in this new beginning would be fundamental to face future challenges. The clarity of his proposal made every word echo with the promise of a lighter future. Claire, even in the midst of distrust and pain, found a glimmer of hope in this plan. With a calm voice and conviction, the stranger concluded the proposal, highlighting the importance of an urgent decision. He explained that the quicker this new beginning was sealed, the greater the chance would be of rescuing the dignity and freedom that Claire so desired. This union, imposed by the need to escape the pain and labels that imprisoned her, was presented as the first step towards rebuilding an authentic identity. The symbolic contract of an impulsive marriage promised not only a break with the past, but also the inauguration of a new stage, full of possibilities. Her proposal, full of details and an aura of transformation, urged Claire to embrace the chance of an immediate fresh start. Claire, dominated by a mixture of anguish and hope, chose to accept this offer that allowed her to regain control over her life. Soon after accepting the marriage proposal, Claire found herself submerged in the relentless interference of her family. Her parents, always zealous about maintaining traditions, insisted that the original plans for the wedding be maintained, even after the painful revelation of the betrayal. They organized frequent meetings in which they discussed details of the party, the invitations, and even the choice of the buffet, as if her love had not been shaken by the disappointment. This exaggerated insistence turned every family meeting into a battle where Claire's will was constantly overshadowed by the pressure of preserving the image of a perfect marriage. Meanwhile, in a simple no-frills ceremony, held far from the spotlight and the traditions that until then defined her, she sealed a new alliance that symbolized the break with a painful past and the promise of a new beginning. At first, it would be something to free Claire from her ties to her family, and not a marriage to be consummated on her wedding night. But this decision, taken amidst a storm of emotions, did not go unnoticed by those who still insisted on considering this marriage a sham. Claire's family used financial power as a tool of control. In an unexpected and cruel action, they blocked their bank accounts, claiming that the resources destined for the party could not be wasted on a relationship marked by betrayal. This measure not only limited their financial autonomy, but also served as a constant reminder that their decisions were subject to the dominance of those who had always been in charge. The imposition of monetary control made Claire feel trapped, unable to take control of her own life, while her family used money as a bargaining chip. Feeling trapped by circumstances, Claire found herself torn between the desire to regain her freedom and the pressure of moving forward with a marriage that no longer reflected her feelings. Even though she was already married, she struggled to reconcile her yearning for a new beginning with the relentless reality of the restrictions imposed by those who had always set the rules in her family. This situation made her feel as if she were trapped in a web of obligations and expectations, where every step towards autonomy was curtailed by financial and emotional limitations. The feeling of impotence increased with each new imposition, making the decision to start over even more painful. Claire's emotional vulnerability deepened every day. The traumas of the past, intensified by betrayal, made her feel helpless and lonely, even surrounded by family. The feeling of abandonment was mixed with the pain of seeing those who should support her, turning the new beginning into a battlefield. In quiet moments, she wondered if her own family really cared about her happiness, or if they just sought to preserve honor and tradition at any cost. This internal struggle made the anguish almost palpable, leaving Claire in a state of constant vulnerability. Amid this whirlwind of pressure, the narrative gained a new scenario that symbolized the burdens accumulated by Claire. One afternoon, while alone at the seashore, she decided to unload the belongings that represented the weight of the past, piling up boxes and souvenirs as if each object could alleviate her suffering. The scenery of a calm sea and a distant horizon contrasted with the internal turmoil that accompanied it, reinforcing the idea that freedom was still an ideal to be achieved. This scene was not just a visual metaphor, but a reflection of the countless emotional and financial barriers that prevented her from moving forward. Some of all these pressures caused Claire to find herself in a state of confusion and extreme pain of family interference, financial control, the feeling of being trapped by circumstances, and emotional vulnerability intertwined to form a picture of despair. Each day was marked by a new challenge imposed by those who were supposed to protect her, making the decision to break with the past even more complex. In this hostile environment, Claire found herself forced to make urgent decisions to regain her dignity, even if it meant acting impulsively again and facing an internal battle that was still far from being won. After a clash with her family who refused to recognize the sham marriage, Claire took the initiative to go to court to regain her financial autonomy. She filed a lawsuit seeking to release her frozen accounts, arguing that the family's imposition had violated her rights and harmed her ability to start over. The legal battle was marked by long hearings, where their arguments were presented with clarity and determination, demonstrating that maintaining the blockade was an instrument of abusive control. Each statement, each document presented, reinforced the need to restore their freedom and provide access to the resources that were essential for their personal reconstruction. The legal dispute, full of tensions and twists, became a battlefield where Claire fought to recover not only her money, but her dignity and autonomy. During the process, Claire's lawyers gathered overwhelming evidence that unequivocally exposed family interference. Witnesses reported the constant pressure and conditions imposed by the family, which used the financial commitments of the marriage as a means of coercion. With each hearing, Claire's determination strengthened, and the court began to recognize the seriousness of the abusive practices, contributing to a favorable decision that aimed to restore her rights. The victory at the judicial level was celebrated as a milestone in Claire's struggle, representing not only the release of her accounts but also the breaking of the chains that kept her under the yoke of family impositions. This achievement strengthened her confidence and encouraged her to pursue a new beginning, free from the oppressive influence of her family. With the court decision in her favor, Claire felt that she could finally regain control over her life. However, the family environment still resisted the idea of accepting the new marriage, considering it invalid and an affront to traditions. It was then that she forced the family to meet her new husband, a man whose name was Raphael. Initially, family members reacted with incredulity and reluctance, refusing to recognize the validity of that union that had been sealed in a quick and symbolic ceremony. The tension increased with each meeting, and the refusal to accept Raphael as part of the family made Claire relive, at every moment, the traumas of betrayal and imposition. She, however, remained firm in her convictions, determined to show that her choice represented the opportunity for a different future. Claire organized a family meeting at which Raphael was prominently present, demonstrating with his posture and kindness that he had qualities that contrasted with his ex-fiancée's abusive behavior. During the event, he actively participated in the conversations and helped to ease the tension, seeking to build bridges with relatives who were initially hostile. Raphael's posture, his serenity and respect gradually gained the trust of those who previously opposed the union. Family resistance, although still present, began to give way when faced with the demonstration that Claire's new marriage had solid foundations and was the result of a conscious choice. Little by little, family members began to see Raphael not only as a symbol of a break with the past, but as an ally in rebuilding a more authentic life. Still reluctant, Claire's relatives forced a comparison between the old and the new, reminding her of the old customs and traditions that, according to them, should be respected. Raphael, aware that acceptance would take time, remained calm and firm, demonstrating his dedication to being an integral part of the family. Claire, in turn, intervened gently but firmly, emphasizing that her new marriage was proof that she was willing to start over and build a life based on renewed values. This confrontation, full of raw emotions, marked a period of intense discussions and also of small victories, where each gesture of acceptance, no matter how small, meant progress towards family reconciliation. The insistence on validating her choice became a catalyst for changing the mentality of those who, over time, began to recognize the importance of the new chapter in Claire's life. As the months went by, the relationship between Claire and Raphael began to deepen in surprising ways. Little by little, their daily coexistence allowed both of them to discover affinities that went beyond the simple desire for a fresh start. Raphael was attentive and understanding, accompanying Claire in every step of the process of rebuilding her identity. They began to share simple moments, such as meals prepared together and peaceful walks around the neighborhood, which gradually replaced the mistrust and pain that marked the past. The constant presence and mutual support created a solid foundation so that both could get to know each other better and build a partnership based on respect and empathy. This natural approach meant that each day together reaffirmed Claire's decision and showed that their union did, in fact, bring hope for a lighter and truer future. The bond between Claire and Raphael grew stronger over time as they faced everyday challenges together. Amid the difficulties and scars that the past had left, each sincere conversation and each gesture of affection contributed to solidifying mutual trust. Raphael was willing to actively participate in household responsibilities, sharing tasks and supporting Claire in moments of fragility. This harmonious coexistence transformed the dynamics of the new marriage, making it a source of strength and inspiration for both. Little by little, the intimacy between them grew, revealing shared dreams and plans for a future that seemed increasingly promising. The transformation in the relationship, based on patience and dedication, showed that true love could emerge from the ashes of the past, building a new path full of possibilities and renewal. Living together on a daily basis allowed Claire and Raphael to get to know each other in depth, overcoming the barriers of skepticism and old hurts. The small gestures of affection and spontaneous conversations created an environment of trust where they both felt safe to expose their vulnerabilities. Raphael, with his calm and determination, proved to be an unshakable pillar of support, while Claire learned to leave behind the ghosts that tormented her. Together, they discovered that intimacy built on sincerity and understanding was capable of healing deep wounds. This new phase in Claire's life was marked by the certainty that love, when nurtured with respect and dedication, transformed suffering into learning. Little by little, their relationship blossomed naturally, announcing a future where hope and freedom were protagonists. On a cozy night, under the soft glow of the lights and the welcoming silence of the home, Claire and Raphael found a refuge of tenderness and renewal. The environment, suffused with pent-up emotions and shared hopes, became the stage where the scars of the past were slowly softened by the warmth of new love. Every gesture, every touch spoke of a promise of a new beginning, and of an intimacy that was consolidated with delicacy, transforming the moment into a silent celebration of the union of two souls who had finally chosen to heal together. In that singular moment, the marriage was finally consummated. The weight of difficult days dissipated, giving way to a deep feeling of freedom and authenticity, where love was present in its purest and most transformative form. From that night on, Claire's life underwent a profound transformation. The intimate and sincere bond established with Raphael dispelled the shadows of the past and paved the way for a new dawn full of hope. She felt like she had finally found the freedom and happiness she had been searching for, and every day became an opportunity to rewrite her story with love and authenticity. The moments lived together reinforced the certainty that true love, based on complicity and respect, was capable of healing wounds and transforming existence into a daily celebration of life. Raphael, with his serene and genuine attitude, gradually won the affection and trust of Claire's entire family. Little by little, comparisons and criticisms were replaced by admiration and acceptance, and the man who was previously seen with suspicion began to be recognized as a true pillar of support. With each gesture, he demonstrated his commitment and care, dispelling the doubts that surrounded him and solidifying his position as Claire's ideal partner. Over time, the family came to adore him, and the couple consolidated themselves as a harmonious union, capable of facing the challenges of the world with the strength of a renewed and unshakable love. Claire learned that true strength lies in listening to your own heart and having the courage to start over. The initial trauma, which once prevented her from believing in love, was gradually replaced by renewed confidence and the certainty that every difficulty can be transformed into learning. When facing the pressures and betrayals of the past, she discovered that resilience is built through small gestures of courage and the ability to reinvent oneself. This new phase taught her that genuine love comes when we allow ourselves to heal and transform pain into personal growth. The experience strengthened her and prepared her for a future where happiness and authenticity are present in every moment. The family, who initially opposed and criticized Claire's decision, began to see the change with new eyes. Impositions and old prejudices were replaced by a deeper understanding of the value of renewal and freedom. Upon witnessing Claire's transformation and Raphael's sincere commitment, the relatives gradually accepted the new reality. Their relationship served as an example that even after moments of conflict and pain, it is possible to find paths to reconciliation and mutual respect. This change awakened in the family the ability to rethink traditions and accept that happiness is built on love and truth. With Raphael by her side, Claire began a new stage marked by peace and trust, where the scars of the past were finally overcome. Her partner's constant support and dedication helped her to consolidate a solid relationship based on transparency and true affection. Together, they built a home where respect and understanding became the pillars of a harmonious union. Each challenge overcome strengthened the conviction that love, when lived authentically, has the power to heal old wounds and transform lives. Thus, the new chapter opened with hope, renewal, and the certainty that the past, although painful, no longer determines the future. Claire's transformation was completed in a scenario where self-love and the desire to live became driving forces. Living with new friends and the emergence of previously unimaginable opportunities filled their days with meaning and renewed their hopes. The feeling that the past no longer defined his future transformed every moment into a celebration of life, reaffirming that overcoming is possible even when everything seems to fall apart. After learning Claire's story, now it's your turn. Leave your comment telling us how you overcame difficult times and share this video with those who need to rediscover their inner strength. Thank you for following this story to the end. If this narrative awakened in you the desire to transform your life, click to like the channel and not miss any of these impactful stories. Then a recommended video has been selected especially for you, with more exciting stories that are sure to inspire. Furthermore, A collection of videos with similar stories will be available on the final screen, so that you can continue to be moved by these lessons. See you in the next video, where new stories of courage and transformation await you.